In my previous video, I told you all that we have to start preparing for the long game. And in that video, I mentioned electricity, power. I really don't think people take this seriously. I really think that people believe that it's just electricity. It can go away and that's it. So what I'm going to do today is, instead of encourage everybody to go get an Opus, to go get power generators, no. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you how it was in Cuba, and you can do with it what you want. So, when the Soviet Union collapsed, the government didn't receive oil anymore. And without oil, they couldn't run their power plants. With that came what we call over there apagones, meaning the blackouts. The blackouts became a normal thing. In fact, they even came out in the newspaper. From 8 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon, this area is going to have a blackout. So it became scheduled blackouts. The worst ones were at nighttime, when people wanted to go to sleep or wanted to watch the soap opera novelas. Back then, there was not a lot of entertainment. And out of nowhere, you may not even be on the schedule to deal with a blackout, and poof, the power went out. Nothing that you could do about it. Nothing. If it was in the winter time, you can choose to go to sleep and that's it. The mosquitoes was a lot less during the winter time, and often enough, you're just like, oh well, whatever, just go to bed and that's it. However, in summertime, which is different than here where I am today, I live in Alaska, and most of the time is winter. Over there, most of the time is summer. In Cuba, most of the time is summer. So you have to deal with high temperatures, really high temperatures. So for most of the year, you have to deal with mosquitoes. So the power goes out. It's hot. You can't go to bed because it doesn't cool off until after midnight. In fact, if you go to bed early, you have to have a fan. That's how hot it is. So because you don't have electricity, you can't run a fan. You can't cool off. The mosquitoes are so bad that you have to sleep inside a mosquito net, what they call over there a mosquitero. In fact, that's one of the things that they ask people when they go visit families. They always ask, can you bring some mosquiteros, like mosquito nets, so you can put over your bed? You can't sleep without it. Plain and simple. You just can't. Now, in the city, in the Havana, you don't get a lot of mosquitoes. But because everything is so crowded together, and those old buildings hold so much heat, it makes it even worse. People will go and stand on the balconies until past midnight because they needed to cool off somehow. And inside, it was so hot in apartments that you just can't sleep. Yeah, you can open the windows, and if you get lucky, you get a breeze. But a lot of times, incredible enough, I don't know how it happened, but the moment the power went out, there was no breeze. Now you're dealing with heat, humidity, anger, all of that together. In the countryside, you needed to have a mosquito net. So now you are confined inside the mosquito net with no fan, hot, sweaty, and angry. So that's just to sleep. A lot of people didn't cook back then with electricity, not like here. People here, it's very common for folks to use electric ranges, not over there. Over there, they use kerosene to cook. Some did had propane, which the government would fill up your tanks. Some would cook with coal, and some others with wood. We did not have propane. We cook with wood, we cook with coal, and mainly with kerosene. We often try to cook as early as possible because when the power went out, you could not use that kerosene to make a lamp or to have it for illumination or whatnot. The kerosene was so precious that it needed to be saved for cooking purposes only. Forget about anything else. That kerosene lamp, forget about it. Another thing, and that's why a lot of times, a lot of things that people ask when folks will go over and visit was a lamp, a rechargeable lamp, very similar to something like this that you can just turn it on and have it on. And people ask this because one, you can recharge it when the power came back on, and two, because it didn't emit heat. That's one thing that you have to understand. Kerosene lamps emit heat, and that those fumes attract mosquitoes. In a place where a lot of the time you have to deal with mosquitoes, the last thing you want is something attracting those mosquitoes. So a lot of people did ask for this type of lamps, rechargeable lamps. So whatever little time they had with electricity or electric power when it was available, they charge these things as quick as possible. They will save it for nighttime. I remember in our house having a line coming down, and we will hook a lamp like this and put it up so they can be in the middle of the house, and we just reel it up and bring it down when we wanted to charge it. But we did that in order for us to have at least some sort of light. We never use the kerosene. We did have lamps for kerosene, but we couldn't. If that kerosene run out, we wouldn't have fuel to cook. And contrary of public belief that people always say, oh yeah, you can cook with wood or you can cook with coals and whatnot, it's a lot harder. A lot harder. So you're cooking outside with heat. It is hot. Doesn't make things easy at all. And of course, you have to open your refrigerator as little as possible, because when the power goes out, you are on borrowed time. Whatever little food you had, if the power didn't come back soon, whatever little food you had in there could spoil. So forget about drinking cold water in hot summer nights. Forget about it. The ice that was in there, it was to be left in there for that food to last a little longer. Cold water? No. You drink room temperature water. And when it's really hot, it makes things very, very difficult. Now, when we came from school, we did our homework just like that. The moment that we got inside the house, we took off our uniform and we did our schoolwork because we wanted to use daylight. And then we went outside to play. If you forgot or you didn't do your homework and you wanted to do it at nighttime and you needed to capitalize the lamp, you for sure will have to deal with the consequences. So bear that in mind. Everything was dictated based on electricity. Everything. Imagine you going and telling your parents, oh, I need the lamp because I need to do homework because I was too busy playing outside with my friends. And now your parents, who are cranky because they're hot, they can't sit down and watch their soap opera because everybody in Cuba watches that. They don't wait like the soap opera. And they're angry because the power went out. They're upset because they're sweaty and hot and there's no fans and whatnot, and they can't even use their lamp. Yeah. Now, that's just to give you an idea. To give you an idea of what people don't understand when it comes to power. In the United States, we are highly dependent on electricity. Highly dependent on electricity. To the point that a house, if you look around, I would say that 90% of everything that you have in your house, appliance-wise, uses electricity. Over there, we limit the electricity usage a lot. We consume very little electricity in Cuba because it was not dependable. And yet we still struggle. Consider that here we are highly dependent on electricity. Shoot, in Cuba nobody had computers back then. Nobody had cell phones. Nowadays people just go like this. Oh, I have a light. Over there was no such thing. People talk to each other. Over here, people talk to each other through the phone. Take that away because you can't charge it. Take away the ability of cooking on your electric range. Take the ability of not having illumination because over there, we use this. Many people may not have this. Many people will be thinking, oh, I'm just going to use a kerosene lamp. Kerosene runs out. And then what? That's the thing. I want you to start thinking long term. And I want you to learn from the things that I went through. The things that I went through, I don't wish it on nobody. But they have taught me a very, very valuable lesson. And that lesson is very simple. People in here in the US take everything for granted. Power outages, camping, work on the go. Opus keeps you connected at home and outdoors. With clean, reliable energy, Opus powers freedom. Opus, the choice of the frontier preppers. If you'd like to support the channel, check out the links in the pinned comment below. Consider joining our Frontier Prepper Squad or let an ad to you run. It really does make a difference. And always remember, those who prepare today will not struggle tomorrow.